So I'm going to give a trigger warning at the beginning of this video. If you are the kind of person who does not like deep, dark tales, this is where you click off, especially dark tales about the country that we live in, the United States. I kept racking my brain trying to understand. Why does the White House seem completely indifferent to the fact that the supply chains are breaking and that containers are empty at the ports and the consumer prices are skyrocketing? It didn't make sense. Like, why this huge push all of a sudden with the tariffs? And then I remembered. I've seen this before. What we need to do is stop pretending that this is about jobs. Because what's happening in America right now with our jobs, our factories, our ports, our economy, all has historical precedent. And the last time that the world saw this kind of behavior clearly, it was in Germany before World War II. We're hearing it spun like this. We're bringing back manufacturing jobs. We're making America great again. We're becoming self-reliant. We're protecting American workers. What's really happening? If you look at what's being focused on, what's being reshored the first, things like semiconductors, military-grade electronics, steel and defense parts, pharmaceuticals, AI hardware and batteries. And not just anywhere, strategically. In Texas, near oil, defense, and ports. In Arizona, chips and aerospace. In Ohio and Pennsylvania, near rail hubs and industrial corridors. And in Georgia and the Carolinas, because they have port access along the coastlines. That's why this doesn't make any sense for the consumers, because it's not about us. These are not consumer-first moves or wartime logistics moves. Let's go back to Germany in 1933. Before Schmittler started killing off you-know-who, before that happened, he started by rebuilding Germany. Between 33 and 39, Nazi Germany pumped billions into steel, arms, chemicals, and infrastructure. In 1936, Schmittler launched his 4-year plan to make Germany self-sufficient. Any of this sounding familiar? And ready for war. Unemployment dropped, factories boomed, people were told this is a German comeback story. But then, in 1941, that machine was used to wage global war, and later execute genocide, using the very same railroads, factories, and forced labor that started as economic progress. And don't forget that during the World War in America, factories that were making consumer products moved over to making wartime products. Bullets, helmets, tanks, etc. So it's not a stretch to say AI factories move over to doing stuff for autonomous drones, chip manufacturing, missile guidance systems, battery factories, military vehicles, and energy independence in case of global conflict. With all of that in mind, let's look around. Sky-high tariffs, making everyday goods unaffordable. The consumer economy is collapsing. Military budgets are on the rise. AI, biotech, chips, all dual-use technologies, and now all being federally subsidized. The buyer isn't you anymore. It isn't us, the consumers, the government. We are not the consumer. The war machine is. This was about revitalizing the economy for the American people, do things that would cause food prices to skyrocket, medications to go out of stock, and you would address jobs taken by automation. The economy isn't being built for us. It's being built for conflict. Germany didn't industrialize because it was evil. It industrialized because it was afraid, and it wanted control. It turned that power against its people. Today, the U.S. finds itself in direct competition with China to protect our interests, to restore our greatness. But how long until the war machine, the people become restless, and they need someone to blame? Just like they did in Schmatzi Germany. To control, people to silence, a scapegoat to make the American population quiet, calm, compliant. I've seen this movie before, guys. Only this time it's in English and it's being funded with our tax dollars. This isn't about jobs. It's not. If it were, it wouldn't be being done this way. This is about control, potentially about readiness, and definitely about war. When you marry all of that with all of the closed borders, dehumanizing anybody who's black or brown, we have the recipe for a very, very ugly situation on our hands. And I feel like history is about to repeat itself, but this time on American soil.
Forget about Epstein. Have you heard about the Trump files? Pay attention. The Jews are still looking for their Messiah. When they gave Trump the menorah and ascribed those messianic prophecies to him, they might have just chosen their Messiah. Scripture says in Numbers 25:12, look at what they ascribed to Trump. Therefore, say, behold, I give him my covenant of peace. This is a scripture talking about Jesus, but they're ascribing this prophecy to Donald Trump. Further, in Isaiah 9:1, for a child has been born unto us, a son has been given to us, and the authority will rest on his shoulders. He who is wondrous advisor, mighty God, eternal Father, shall give him the name Prince of Peace. The Israel Heritage Foundation, with profound gratitude, presents this covenant of peace award to the Prince of Peace, Donald Trump. The Israel Heritage Foundation gave Donald Trump a crown. It's called the Keter of Jerusalem, or the Crown of Jerusalem. Now, isn't it interesting in Revelation 6 that there's this world conqueror that is given a crown, and he sits on a white horse? And isn't it interesting that RFK called Donald Trump a man on a white horse in February 2025? And after he's given this crown, he goes forth conquering and to conquer. And Trump has been conquering ever since. That's why he established this. One of the common misconceptions about the Antichrist is that he will be loved by everyone. But this is not biblical. Let me show you. Revelation 13 says they wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? This does not imply that they love him. This implies that they wondered and worshipped after the beast because no one is able to make war with him. Essentially, no one's going to be able to stop him. And everyone is going to marvel at this. And Daniel 11:21 tells us this. And in his estate, or in the place of a previous leader, shall stand up a vile person to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom. This vile individual that Daniel speaks of is the Antichrist. So when this vile person, the Antichrist, comes on the scene, it says that they will not give him the honor of the kingdom, meaning they will not count him worthy of ruling over men. They will not count him worthy of having a political office. In fact, many know him to be vile and detestable, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Or in other words, he's going to gain the kingdom by promising peace and prosperity. And that's what's going to gain him the advantage.